All right, let's talk about something that's totally changing the game for businesses, the GRC Automation Blueprint. We're going to dive into how automation is turning governance, risk, and compliance, GRC, from this painful manual chore into a real strategic advantage. So let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Does managing risk at your company feel, well, kind of old school? Like you're constantly buried in spreadsheets, always looking in the rearview mirror? If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. But here's the thing, that old way of doing things, it's just not going to cut it anymore. And this slide right here, it just lays it all out perfectly. You've got the old GRC on the left, slow, siloed, always reacting to stuff that's already happened. And then on the right, you see where we're headed. It's automated, it's unified, and this is the big one, it's predictive. We're talking about getting ahead of risk, not just writing reports about it. It's a huge shift.
Yeah, this really isn't just some small tweak. It's a full-on revolution. Think about it. Cyber threats are getting crazier, regulations are getting more complex by the day. The old box-ticking approach just can't keep up. Modern GRC has to be woven into the very fabric of the business strategy.
Okay, so just so we're all speaking the same language, when we talk about GRC, this is the core idea. It's the whole system a company uses to hit its goals, deal with surprises, and basically do the right thing. You could almost think of it as the company's rulebook, its radar system, and its conscience all rolled into one.
So, how does this GRC revolution actually work? Well, it all starts with the brains of the operation, artificial intelligence. AI is the engine that lets us move from just reacting to stuff to actually predicting what's coming around the corner.
The concept itself sounds simple, right? But the impact is absolutely massive. AI basically acts like this super powerful lens. It can sift through mountains of data. We're talking everything from your internal logs to global threat reports and spot patterns a human never could. And just like that, all that noise becomes a real strategic advantage, helping you make smarter calls way faster.
And it really breaks down into three key jobs. First, you've got threat prediction. This is about seeing trouble on the horizon before it gets to you. Then there's control forecasting. Think of this like a health check for all your defenses, predicting when a firewall or a policy might be about to fail. And finally, and maybe most importantly, is decision support. This is where the AI translates all that tech speak into the language of business so leaders know exactly what to focus on.
And look, this quote really sums it all up. AI isn't some sci-fi concept anymore. It's here, right now, and it is absolutely fundamental to doing risk and compliance the right way. If your GRC program isn't using AI for these kinds of insights, you're already playing catch-up.
Okay, so if AI is the brain, then it needs a body to live in, right? A central nervous system. Well, that's the backbone. Integrated platforms that bring all of a company's risk and compliance stuff together into one single powerful system.
And this whole idea is called Integrated Risk Management, or IRM. It's really the next step in GRC's evolution. You see, instead of having your cybersecurity team over here and your privacy team over there and the auditors in another corner all working in their own little worlds, IRM puts everyone on the same page on one unified platform.
And the payoffs are huge. Suddenly, executives get one single dashboard to see the entire risk landscape. You stop doing the same work over and over again because you're using shared controls. Audits, they become so much easier because all the evidence is in one spot. And you get to monitor everything continuously, in real time. It's a total game changer.
So we've got the brains, we've got the backbone, now let's get practical. Let's look at the toolkit and see how this automation is solving some really tough, real-world problems that businesses are facing today.
First up, one of the biggest headaches for any company, supply chain risk. I mean, every business relies on tons of third-party vendors, right? And every single one of them is a potential weak link. Plus, you have all these new regulations popping up globally that are forcing companies to get a really tight grip on their entire supply chain.
So this is where automation just shines. It can automatically check out new vendors for you. Then, it watches them in real time for any red flags, like a data breach. It even gives them a risk score that changes based on what's happening. So you're not just checking a box once, you have this continuous, living picture of your supply chain risk.
Okay, the second big problem automation cracks is communication. For years, decades even, security folks have been trying to explain cyber risk to the board, and it hasn't always gone well. There's a huge disconnect.
Because this is what the board usually hears, some vague label like risk level high.
What does that even mean? How are you supposed to make a multi-million-dollar budget decision based on the word high? You can't. It's just not helpful.
But what if you could say this instead? That specific ransomware threat we're worried about, it has a potential price tag of $3.2 million. See? Now that is a conversation a CFO can understand. This whole approach is called cyber risk quantification, and it's completely changing how businesses invest in security.
All right, so let's pull all this together. Why does any of this GRC automation stuff really matter? Well, it's because it finally builds a solid bridge between managing risk and creating real business value.
It really boils down to these 4 things. You get way more efficient because your best people aren't stuck doing manual grunt work. You become more agile, able to pivot when new regulations hit. You're more resilient because you can spot threats faster. And finally, you get real business alignment, making smart, data-driven decisions about risk and where to put your money.
So when you look at the big picture, GRC is no longer just this cost of doing business. With automation, it's turning into a powerful strategic tool that both protects the company and helps it grow smarter. And really, the only question left is the one you see right here. Is your business ready to make that shift?